Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. A quick little dirty video today because I've been working on some improvements for the SM.Quant. So given that a lot has changed, I kind of want to make a quick rundown of what's new. So let's dive in. We're currently on version 0.32, still in beta, still not official out. But yeah, so in terms of smart money, nothing has changed. I haven't touched that this time. We have a big rework to the high time frame sessions, also known as multi-time frame candles, and then we have added equity sessions. Let's have a quick look at this right here. If you're on the 30-minute or lower, what this will do is it will show you the candles that correspond to the equity sessions in the market, right? So we have Hong Kong for Asia, London for the UK, and then New York for the US. And this square here is the close of London because it falls in the time frame of the New York session. Right, so those of you that are familiar with it, you should know what this means, right? Yeah, it's just a little thing. I'll probably make some other improvements in the future, but for now it's just like that. Right, but yeah, the big change is in terms of the high time frame sessions. So the style, I've removed the older styles, the candle style and the level style, and yeah, reworked it into a Kumo, a term I borrowed from the Ichimoku indicator. Kumo means cloud in Japanese, right? So we have Kumo. We can select our time frame. I've added the yearly, the quarterly, and the monthly as well now. So we have a whole stack of high time frame. Let's jump to the weekly because that's a nice time frame. Let's go back to the 1 hour. And yeah, as you can see, we have a cloud basically that changes color and stuff. So yeah, let's go over what this means. So we have a thicker line. This is basically, given that we're now on the weekly time frame, or we've set the high time frame session to the weekly, right? So this is the weekly mid-range of the previous week, and then we have one that's moving. The other part of the cloud, that's the active weekly, right? So we have, let me actually enable the second style, which is the Kumo plus the pane in terms of having another pane, but to the right side this time, right? We can now see two candles here. So we have the previous weekly candle, this one, and we have the current weekly candle. If we quickly jump to the weekly, you can see that this is just a representation of the two current candles, right? This one and this one, right? It's just a visual representation on the 1 hour. Let's actually, you can also adjust the distance where this is found. So we put this at 20, for example, it comes in a bit closer. There we go, right? It's a bit easier to have everything on the chart, right? So as you can see, if we take the full range of this previous candle, we have the mid-range sitting right here, and the full range of the current candle is right there. And the Kumo, the cloud, is between those two. It changes color, so if it has two stages currently. So if it's inside the cloud, below the active mid-range, it turns bearish. And then if it's also below the previous mid-range, then it turns super bearish, basically, right? There's two stages to it. So if it's outside, it's ultra bearish or ultra bullish, and then if it's inside, it can be either bullish if the mid-range, the active mid-range is above the previous mid-range. And if we look here we can see that the active mid-range is below the previous mid-range, and price action when it's inside, it's actually a bullish cloud, right? So that's how you can see it changing color, right? And as soon as price jumps out of the previous mid-range, it turns uber bullish, basically, right? It has an extra color. It becomes a little bit more thicker. Right, so what else do we have? We have the weekly low of the previous week, and then the high. Those are the dotted lines here. We have a dashed line, that's the open, right? You can see that this is obviously where the new candle started. And then we have also this jumping line here, which is blue here and pink here, and that's the quarterly, and it only displays the quarterly that's relevant, essentially. So if price is below the active mid-range, it will display the 25%. If price action is above the active mid-range, then it will display the 75%, right, of the active candle. So these are just the quarter ranges relative to the active mid-range of this candle. Let's see, anything else? We have the weekly open. That's the timestamp basically where the new week starts. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how it works for now. I'm finding it quite useful myself. There's quite a bunch of cool combos. I especially like the 1 hour plus the weekly. I think the 5 minute plus the daily is also very nice. We can actually have a look if we want to change it. So let's see, we go here. We change this to daily. Right, you can now see that it changes, and you can actually see like how price action respects this, right? Once it's trending, it kind of tends to hold the active mid-range all the way up. If we go to the 5 minutes, you can get a bit more detail of it. Right, so you can see once the bottom of this dip came in, it reclaims the active mid-range. Once it establishes that it's not going to lose it again, it just instantly teleports to the previous mid-range of the previous day, in this case, right? Because we have it set to the daily. And then once it reclaims that, it just kind of holds the 50, and if it gets really trendy, then it tends to hold the quarterly. We get a new day, and then again, the bears, they do an attempt, but they don't succeed. It keeps holding the active mid-range and then launches off again. Right, and here we see the representation of the last 2 days, basically, right? So yesterday and then today, the active candle, you can see it moving if you pay attention. Right. I hope all that makes sense. If we go back here, another thing you can do is weekly. There we go. I've made some improvements to the volume profile. So volume profile resolution, we can choose it on the left side or on the right side. If we have it left, then obviously it's going to be on the left of these candles. And then if you want it on the right side, you can have it on the right side. And like I showed before, you can adjust the distance. So if you want to have this closer or further away, depending on which side you have the volume profile, then you can just adjust it where you want to have it. And you can adjust the opacity as well. So if you put this to 0, then it will be completely opaque. And that's pretty much it. And so a cool thing you can do with this is you can actually just add a second indicator. And we set this, for example, to the monthly. And instead of the Kumo or the Kumo plus the pane, we can actually just only put it on the pane, and it will shift over there. Now we have the monthly candles represented on the chart, just like we have the weeklies, and then we can adjust this position to, let's say, 70 maybe, so that it's not in the way of the volume profile. You can see that also adds the levels. And then you can have basically also a representation of the monthly, and also get the monthly levels in there if you want that. Another thing you can do is you can give the monthly, the same distance as the previous one, the weekly. And what will happen is now they're overlapping. The candles have the same position, right? So they're overlapping. But there's actually a background behind the weekly. So it's kind of hidden from sight until you hover your mouse over the monthly candles, and then they will override. You have to keep in mind that you have to order your indicators in the proper order, right? So like so. Right, so now we have the weekly above the monthly, or vice versa, depending on what you're trying to do, right? But yeah, make sure that in your object tree you have everything in the correct order, so that they overlap properly if you want to do this this trick. But yeah, so you can have it nice and tucked away, and then when you want to look at it, you just hold your mouse over one of the monthly levels, and then it will cover the weekly and show you the monthly candles, basically. Alrighty, yeah, I think that's it. That's pretty much all the changes. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna cut it here, and then see you guys in the next update. See ya, ciao.